Hi everyone, it's Ash here from FPL Hints, here with my captaincy polling data analysis and EO projections for Game Week 30. But before I begin, a quick recap on my projections for double Game Week 29. My projection for the captain EO, which was Marcus Rashford, was 145 to 155% for the top 100k and the Elite 1000. And as we can see on screen there, it was 148.6% for the top 100k and 151.4% for the Elite 1000. So I'm pretty pleased with how accurate that projection went. I also said that Mitoma would have an EO of 90 to 99% for those ranked tiers, which was also the case as well. Unfortunately, my Madison projection was somewhat optimistic. I was saying that his EO would exceed 60% for those ranked tiers. In the end, it was between 35 to 55% for the top 100k and Elite 1000. On the whole, I'm fairly pleased with those EO projections. And on to Game Week 30 now. I've actually changed the question that I ask going forwards on my captaincy poll, as you can see on screen there. I used to ask, who is the best FPL captain for a given game week? But I feel that that question was quite loaded and quite presumptive as well. So I've decided to reword it and ask who will be the most popular captaincy pick among engaged FPL managers in a given game week. And I feel that that question is more indirect, but essentially asking the same thing as well. And as we can see with the three options that I provided, Haaland is considered the standout option among the 2,000 plus that voted in my poll. And Rashford and Watkins had an almost equal share with almost a quarter of the vote, and other had less than 3%. And then coming on to the next poll, for the first time, I've actually considered the official FPL poll for my captaincy polling data. In this instance, they've had over 30,000 votes, and they ask, who are you thinking of captaining in game week 30? Once again, Haaland is considered the standout pick, and Kane had less than 10% of the vote. Interestingly enough, Watkins had an almost identical share to my poll, but the fourth option is asking, haven't decided yet. And that's almost reflective of the share that Rashford had in my poll. So who knows if they're all undecided and considering Rashford. But it's interesting to see how they've done their poll here. And then coming on to my next poll, it's the Fantasy Football Fix poll. And as I mentioned last week, they like to state what the predicted captaincy stats are for the top 100k above their poll. And in this instance, the predicted stats are saying Rashford at 47%, Haaland at just over 31%, and then De Bruyne at over 10% and Salah at 5%. And coming on to their question and their poll, who will you captain this weekend? Rashford has 4 in 10 of the vote. And then Haaland in this poll is considered the popular captaincy choice once again. And his percentage actually exceeds 50% in this poll. And then De Bruyne and Salah are considered almost like differential captains with just over 10% considering them as options collectively for game week 30. And then coming on to another poll, this is FPL Salah's poll for game week 30, where he provides 4 options and then comment if other. And then in this poll, just like the Fantasy Football Fix poll, Haaland's percentage exceeds 50%. But surprisingly, Rashford's share is just over 10% in this instance. And once again, Watkins comes in with almost a quarter of the share of this particular poll, and then Kane with less than 10%. And then lastly, coming on to my final poll, it's the Fantasy Football Scout poll. And as I mentioned last week as well, they don't do a Twitter-based poll. It's done through their website, and it means that they can have more than 4 options. And it's quite rare on their poll to have a captain option that often exceeds 50% due to the sheer number of options that they give. But even in this poll, Haaland is considered the most popular captaincy choice, with Rashford getting a quarter of the share and Watkins getting just under 20% as well. So looking at those polls, you can almost see like a recurring theme. And you could say that you need someone to connect the dots. And that's exactly what FPL Harry did actually before I made my video, where he's saying that Rashford, Watkins, and Haaland are all likely to see their EO over 100% for this week. And I actually agree with that observation because it essentially, for game week 30, will be, in my opinion, a split captaincy. And to put this into context, Watkins had an ownership of 58% among the top 100k and 76% among the elite 1000, according to live FPL prior to game week 30. So I'm projecting that his EO will be just under 100% among the top 100k, but it's very likely to exceed 100% among the elite 1000 managers. And then coming on to Haaland, whose ownership was 33% among the top 100k and just 10% among the elite 1000 because of his fitness issues previously. And then, according to the press conference, there's been a change on his fitness since then. I'm projecting that his EO will exceed 100% among the top 100k and the elite 1000 managers as well, but it will definitely be well under 150% EO. And then lastly, on to Rashford. His ownership was 95% among the top 100k and 98% among the elite 1000 managers, according to live FPL before game week 30. And I'm projecting that his EO will definitely exceed 100% among the top 100k and the elite 1000 managers, but will be well under 150% EO. And what's interesting is some of the polls that we saw had Rashford as having 4 in 10 backing him. Some had it as a quarter backing him, and there was one poll just over 10%. Even if a very small minority backed him as the captain for game week 30, his EO will comfortably exceed 100%. It's just a case of how many will back him with that lunchtime kickoff. So there you have it. That's my analysis of the captaincy polling data for game week 30, as well as my EO projections. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and if you can share, subscribe, and like, as always, that will be greatly appreciated. Take care and all the best. Thank you.